History for Fools. Welcome everybody to History for Fools,
What's up, everybody?
a podcast where Butch Escobar
Howdy.
goes on many rabbit holes and reading countless pamphlets and one book and TikTok videos
Yes.
and to dig into the most information we can in a short amount of time
1 week.
and to bring you one of the best history comedy podcasts there is. There's a lot of history podcasts, very informative. There's too many to mention, but we mentioned them in a podcast. But this is the History for Fools. Just like when you buy that book, um, History for Dummies, but ain't nobody here a dummy, fool.
No, dude.
So this week, we're going to talk about Mark Twain, and we got lucky enough to go to the Mark Twain house.
Go ahead and hit it.
And there's a couple of quotes here I'm going to read from his life in Mark Twain's Twain.
Brought to you by Puffco.
If I tell you the truth, you don't have to remember anything.
Like that one.
I'm an old man and have known a great many troubles, but most of them never happened.
That one.
Man is the only animal that blushes or needs to. Go to heaven for the climate, hell for the company. No amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. That one is the most famous quote because that's a lot of people on Facebook arguing on your page.
Yes, right now. Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is why I do that. It's funny to watch people sit and argue with each
You
other.
should put that quote, bro, right now to see how many people hate on it by the time the show ends.
On my Facebook?
Yeah, and don't even mention it's Mark Twain.
Okay.
Here's a famous quote by, and they mention his name, Sam what?
Samuel Clemens.
Samuel Clemens.
All right. Add me on Facebook, you guys.
This is us at the Mark Twain house.
Yeah, so our
Mark Twain House and Museum.
Our inspiration today for this podcast is going to be Mark Twain. We went to Hartford, Connecticut, and we decided to go to the Mark Twain house and have a walking tour of his house. I do not have footage of the inside of the house.
And this creepy guy with shorts kept following us.
Shout out to Pedro Gonzalez and Shelly, of course, the famous Shelly. Yep. We got to go to the museum a little bit first. There's a little bit of a museum and a gift shop. I don't know, man. I didn't know anything about Mark Twain before this, other than steamboats, and he was a very prolific writer. So, Shelly said, I'll wake everybody up and we'll get going and we'll just do something for the day. And
he was wearing white suits before Colonel Sanders decided to copy it and go around like Mark Twain, looking like selling bucket of chickens.
He did. That's the dude. He copied fucking Mark Twain. He did. Yeah, because Mark Twain was the guy who was doing that. And this is like an actual more late version of Mark Twain. The Mark Twain that everybody knew a lot of and that they would go see was like this copper red hair, copper red beard or mustache, like like if you look at that top right one, yeah. So that one in the middle or any of those one where he has darker hair, Mark Twain was a fiery redhead and a very pale-skinned man.
He was Cheeto Santino.
He's a very interesting character overall because like he had all these quotes, like his quotes. You can look up Mark Twain quotes forever and they're amazing. Like that's the one thing that I learned. The other thing about him is that he kind of made up his own accent. He was like a weirdo before weirdos, but he was a troll. That was the thing about this guy is that he was like, dude, if he was alive today, he'd be the king of internet trolling. Like he would go after a reporter. There's one story of him going after a reporter. Like every time this reporter would pronounce something, Mark Twain would just say, nope, he's wrong for doing that and point out why he was wrong. And then he convinced the guy, because it started to create a rivalry between him and the guy, and he then convinced the guy, let's keep this going. And then like he would talk the guy into dressing up like him, and then he'd be like, he'd go ahead, like he had a nickname for him, the Unreliable. He was like, the Unreliable decided to dress like me again today to see if it, and like he would trick him into doing stuff like that. And like he just kind of made this guy a buffoon. Yeah, Mark Twain. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna kick it off today with Mark Twain. How you liking that Puffco, by the way, though?
Before we go to Mark Twain, shout out to my good buddy Eric Andre. He invited me to perform with him, rapping Warrior Ninja live at
PuffCon
in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, 2 blocks from where I used to live, and a mile and a half from where I also used to live, because I used to live on 3rd and Wall, and that show was on 3rd and Bixel. And oh my God, man! If I would have known, I would have canceled my gig. But to go there the night before, there was everybody was there.
I
man.
heard it was chaos the night before.
We were there. Me and Bush showed up at 5, huh?
We showed up at 5,
and we met a bunch of people there, man. I got to perform, and Bush they get one of these little cute things. I thought it was gonna be a big thing, bro.
You thought it was gonna be like a big bong, right?
Yeah.
I actually was a little more afraid of this. And this is like an unsolicited kind of. We're not trying to do an ad for PuffCon, but Felipe got this in his gift bag, and right away he was like, "If I have something like this, I'm gonna break it. You have it." And I was like, "I've always wanted one of these, but in my mind, I put it out of my head because they're so expensive." That I was like, I'll gotta wait till I have money, and that'll be a while. But then this pops up in my hand.
Puffs up in my hand.
And I waited till I got home. I made a unboxing video, which I might put on our Patreon once we get that rolling. But this fucking little device, bro, is amazing, dude. Like, it syncs with your phone to let it know which degrees you're hitting it at. You have like 4 settings, I think.
You get an alert on your phone and go, "Hey, man, don't forget to hit me."
You know what I love about this? I don't know if they did this on purpose, but there's like a little gamer button on the top that the joystick that like, it's more your carb. And then you hit it. It's not on right now. I'm trying to get it going here, but I get why I was watching people come in PuffCon with this thing yesterday, this device. And I was also like, dude, aren't you afraid you're going to break it? This is not glass. It's like a glass-like composite.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I'm doing too much. Puffco, get at us, dude. This is a fucking great device. We love it. And thank you very much, man.
Also, I met a bunch of people there from San Antonio. Shout out to Donut King, my son, who I think he's out there, man, in San Antonio. Shout out to also Della Stoner from San Antonio.
Oh, yeah.
Also to BLTA Tattoo. Blah Tattoo? Yeah, BL Tattoo. Big Lou Tattoo. That's right, Big Lou. Big Lou Tattoo in San Antonio.
Shout out to Big Happy from the Bay.
Funking Glassworks. Get at them. FunkyGlassworks@gmail.com. Funking Glassworks.
King.
It's FUNKINGGLASSWORKS@gmail.com. Funky Glassworks. Nice guy. Also, Foolish Mortals. Man, and this person right here, I don't know who you are, but man, if you gave me a sticker, thank you very much. I'm telling you, I told you I was going to mention you. I don't think it's that one. No, it's Fun Kings.
Yeah, so we rolled up to this
Fun Kings.
We rolled up to this festival yesterday.
Deep.
We checked in. Dope. They gave this guy a trailer, bro. It was fucking dope, filled with like goodies in it, with the Puffco and stuff. We chilled for a minute, and then we went and walked around. And as soon as we got out there, people were like walking up to him, giving him stuff. Like, "Hey man, stickers! I have so many stickers. Back at the pad, dude. Yeah, shout out to everybody, dude."
And then the show went with great, man. Eric Andre and we did the Rapping Warrior Ninja. If you've never seen Rapping Warrior Ninja, we get a bunch of rappers and they compete doing ninja obstacle courses. That I have a video, man. And that video will be shown when we get our Patreon. because there was butt naked shit.
Yeah, there's buck naked. There's straight buck naked.
I'm gonna
shit on
save
there.
I'm gonna save all those compilations, bro.
Okay.
Of that video.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put them all together.
I got a bunch more that
the ones you sent me, damn.
Yeah, I sent you a bunch of stuff, dude.
How about the first rapper who didn't want to rap?
Okay, so this guy gets up. Did you see that, bro? So this guy. So in my mind, all these guys got to know what they're getting into because it's Eric Andre, which is like even if I was a battle rapper, like I am a comic, and someone was like, "Hey man, do you want to do this Eric Andre thing?" Knowing me and what I'm afraid of, fuck no. You know, as much as I love Eric Andre, watched fucking all kinds of shit with this kid.
Plus, if I'm on the show, they ask you,
right,
and you say yes. I already know what grosses him out, and I make sure that they do that immediately.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing is he totally would do that. He would get in the
I will get like
of
this, bro. Hire a bunch of people with a bunch of acne, bro, and let him pop all that shit in front of his nose.
No.
He'll tell Eric Andre to not change his socks. Tell Eric Andre not to wear his socks for 2 weeks, and tell him to take them out.
Shut the fuck up,
Take his shoes off while he's interviewing Butch. Fuck Tasty Ones. I'm gonna call a show called Sonali Ones.
Okay,
Anyways, that's why he won't do it.
So fine example, thank you.
So that rapper, bro.
Yeah, so the first guy goes up and like he goes, you gotta drink bog water. It was like one of the easiest ones, dude. He's like, we've been hitting this bog all day though, but that was the thing. That bog water looked murky, dog.
It looked like they put a Bloody Mary.
It looked
mix.
like someone shit in that thing, dude. Like fucking like straight up squirt shit in there, bro. And like he's like, they fucking dude, he goes up and he goes, "What am I sipping on?" And he takes a sip, and I think he thought it was gonna be fake. Cause you could see his face was like fucked up, dude. He goes, "I'm the gardener. I'm just the gardener.
I'm a
like,
grower.
What I gotta do a grower." Yeah, he's like, "I'm just a grower. Why do I gotta
lower
do
him,
this?"
bro.
Huh?
Don't lower his status.
Yeah.
He's a
My
grower.
girl's the gardener. But like, yeah, he's like, he's like, what do I? He's like, no, next? What the fuck is this, man?
He was actually, what's next? He's the trimmer.
Yeah. They should knock him all the way down to a trimmer for that. Whoever he was working for. But yeah, he was like, I'm the grower. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? Why am I doing this? Why are you guys making me do this gross shit? And at first everybody thought it was a shtick. And then after a minute, Eric Andre gets pissed and he's like, dude, this guy, like, fuck this guy, dude. Kill it. This guy doesn't want to commit to the bit. Get the fuck out of here, dude. And like, the guy's like, hey man, I'm just a grower. And like, people are like, boo!
Why you gonna go up there, bro, and then kill? And then I bet you whatever stand he was, where his product was, the people there, bro, don't stand by our product right now, bro.
No, that's the other thing. I would
can't
be
be
like,
associated with us.
If he was there with us, I'd be like, pack it up now. Let's get the fuck out of here before he comes back here, dude. Yeah, that guy was an embarrassment to whoever the fuck. Like, you know what you're doing, dude. Don't like. I don't know, bro. Did you not look up Eric Andre at all? Did you not even if? You know what I'm saying, bro? If they're like, hey, we want you to do this. You battle rap and you go, okay. You want to be on the thing? It's for Eric Andre. He's a guy fucking super famous. You must be living under a rock, but look him up. You know what I mean? And then you look him up and you go, fuck no, I don't want to do that.
Man, the final challenge was when they got the last rappers that made it to the end. Spoiler alert, if you weren't there, but the obstacle course changes every time. They had to rap and then go through a slime little tunnel.
Oh,
where they were dropping slime, and then they jumped in a pool full of cotton. So now that cotton is on top of you. Then they have to climb a wall full of jelly with holes in it and sharp dildos coming out of it.
Yeah.
They were squirting you with jizz.
Or like when they like the early rounds, they were rapping and they hitting you with they're like smacking you with dildos, bro. They're not even like, they just gave them to these girls, bro. And I don't think they told the girls to be gentle. Because you can hear like the guy's like flowing and he's like, you know.
And then they put a bat and you do the little twirl with a bat to make yourself dizzy. And then one of the stagehands shoots you with a fucking powered tennis ball launcher.
Yeah. What about, yeah. Or what about the guy that had to chug hot sauce? Like really hot sauce. Like fucking Eric Andre was like, you guys got to give it up to this dude. Like Eric Andre kind of broke character for him. He's all that shit is fucking hot. The guy's like, yeah, it's fucking hot. It's like tearing up, dude. It was,
But you know what? He was Latino though. He was alrighty.
yeah, he did it, bro. See, that's the thing is like in my mind, I'm watching this the whole time. Like, I can't. There's no way I can
Fuck
handle
no.
any of that, bro.
How about the guy they put in that little blood full of money machine?
Oh yeah.
Just soaked him with blood. How about when Reggie
Oh.
Watts gave him a low ass score and he decided to roast him, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man. He said 7 point from a motherfucker with a man bun.
I know. I would have said some shit.
I
too,
died, dog.
Bro. That was hilarious.
Even Reggie Watts died.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, come on, mate." Speaking of fake accents, Mark Twain was a man that would change it. That started. You think Mark Twain started that talking like this?
Yeah, he did a little. He had like a southern drawl, but then he slowed it down and kind of changed.
You know where
the
his
way
name came from?
I'm not doing a good one, but
I read that his name came from because that fool would go to a bar and like he'll order a drink and go Mark Twain. So they thought that was his name. But he
Right.
was saying Mark II.
right.
So he already
yeah.
drank one. So he's getting two more.
Yeah.
So just remember, he has an alcoholic name, bro.
Right. Well, it's actually it means it's
Mark II.
it means safe waters. It's that's where that came from. But the original Mark Twain is from riverboats. It means safe waters. It's 2 fathoms.
Because I thought say Mark Twain at a bar I read somewhere too.
Right, that too, because that was after he got famous. That's what they named. That's what they started naming the drink. But before that, his original name, because his original name is Samuel Clemens, and he actually had a bunch of pseudonyms before he became upon Mark Twain. But he was really in love with being a riverboat pilot, and so and there used to be a guy that's called the leadman, and he sits at the front of the boat, and he has a big piece of lead with a rope, and he drops the lead in, and it measures fathoms. Now each fathom is 6 feet, and 12 feet is safe waters for a riverboat. So he would yell back, Mark Twain, and then keep going, like safe waters. So it's marking 2 fathoms.
My favorite story of Mark Twain is when he's talking about how poor they were and they were selling everything, bro. I'm gonna need that pipe to do it.
It's roasting right now. Wait till it vibrates. But yeah,
We hit some hard times. We had to sell our only slave.
this is true. This is true.
We had to sell our only slave. Then we had to sell our furniture.
Yeah.
Our neighbor still had a herd of slaves.
It's also
They would pass by our house and say, "What's up? I guess y'all are the slaves now, huh?" Because to live in the South, you gotta have a sense of humor.
This actually is very true. This affected Samuel for the rest of his life. His parents, it was his slave that raised him. And what had happened is they ran out of money and they had to sell her. And they had to sell her to what they called the N-word trader. And like he lived it was upriver. And so that's kind of where he sold me up the river comes from, that term.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Because they sold her up the river to this guy that was the worst slave trader out there. And it was the guy that raised. So like when Mark Twain was born, he was sickly. Like he was like born too early. He was all fucked up. They didn't know if he was going to make it. Also, by the way, side note, he was born and died when Halley's Comet came, but like each time, like
76 years.
yeah, so he died. He was born on the day Halley's Comet came, and he died on the next turnaround. And so on the very day, and so he was sickly. They weren't sure if he was gonna make it. Then he made it. And his mom thought he was some sort of like, oh man, like he's a curer. He's gonna be a healer. Like he's this amazing thing, which gave into this culminates into 2 things. One, them losing everything made Mark Twain constantly chase money and lose money. And then the other thing is it made him, because his mom thought he was like a spiritual healer, but everybody, this guy's life is marred with death. like immediate people around him dying a lot, and he blames himself for all those deaths, starting with his brother, and because he remembers his mom coming in and saying like touch him because you might be able to bring him back with your powers, and he couldn't bring him back, so he blamed himself for that death. And then like
Damn, bro. No, you know what? Fuck that, bro. Only a mom will put that type of pressure on a kid, eh? That's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. Touch him. Touch him. Touch him with those hands. But that one time do they think we're being punished for enslaving a person?
Yeah, that was the thing, is they had slave, and then like a lot of, so there's like a little bit of controversy with Mark Twain. I never knew what it was, and I know what it is now because like his books and writings and speeches seem to speak for the black man, but he uses the N-word an awful lot, and not just in like seriousness, in jest. Like he loved using the N-word a lot. But like when you read
But
his,
he said it in a positive way, like, man, that N-word could read.
right, stuff like that, or like one of the what I found is one of the most prolific things he ever wrote. No, that is exactly. He's like, I found
But
that's
he never said it in a way like, man, them N-words sure know how to breed babies. No, he never said that.
No, he never said anything disparaging.
No, just a man, that N-word can really hum.
Other than the N-word.
They knew how to hum a tune.
Well, he met one in Europe that could read, that was an ex-slave who ran away and got and he's in like in the Middle East. And he's like, I could see why the N-word would move here, given where he used to live. And the N-words out here can read. And he was like surprised, that they could read. And he was like, and then he kind of realized that they weren't so much different, and he always kind of suspected that, but he was like, oh, it's a matter of how we treat them.
If you're just listening to the History for Fools, we're talking about Mark Twain, and we're just throwing in tidbits right now about his life, and but he did get into another thing. But I want to talk about is, you guys ever see that movie Django, when right after Samuel Jackson has that meeting with Leonardo DiCaprio in that little library, and he goes, "They trying to fool you," and then he goes back in, and then Leonardo DiCaprio says, "So why put on a whole charade and a whole production?"
Yeah.
He goes, but he doesn't. But he feels that there being the whole when you're getting food, people don't understand. When you're getting food, there's always going to be a big charade, and then you're going to get food because
right.
A whole being food is a whole production. So right there, man, he could have went back in and shot them and killed them and kept their 12,000. But a gentleman is a gentleman, even the Southern gentleman. So he came back in, and he brought in that skull, and that's what I'm saying that Mark Twain got in was he totally got into that because he totally got into that people personalities are inside the skull, and that's why Leonardo DiCaprio, he was trying to explain to that German fellow and Django, and also put pressure on them to say that he knows the human brain,
right?
But that was all false later on. It was taken away.
Yes, that was all false.
But Mark Twain was into that at first. He studied hardcore to that.
He did do a lot of
phrenology. Yeah, that's his map. I think he did that one. Yeah, there it is. So right there, that's the human brain. Well, people believe that the reflective and this one. And what Leonardo DiCaprio was trying to mention, that slave that they used to have, the one used to shave his grandfather and shave his father, and every one moment he decided to kill them, right? And he was saying that because their little thing on their brain was smaller than regular human beings.
The medulla oblongata or something.
Yeah,
like
it was smaller, right?
Yeah, the medulla.
But it doesn't. But But they don't understand that when you psychologically break a man, he'll never want
So
to.
go back to the back part right there. See where it says domestic?
Yeah,
That's the green part right there. And I think what he was saying in that was that that part is smaller in black people.
yeah,
And and that's the thing is that we do understand that the brain uh handles different parts of your functions, but it's not necessarily that way. But that's the other thing is
it's all
that's
false now.
none of that's true anyway. Everybody has the same size brain unless there's some sort of malfunction or deformation.
And we also learn now that if your brain can be affected by trauma at 4 years old when the growing process is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like you could do. That's the thing is like your head's like very tender
Yeah.
for the first 4 years of
Trauma,
your life.
also not just head trauma, but seeing bad shit.
Yes.
Will stop your brain from growing and
Yes.
letting in
Yes.
things that you want to learn. The
Yes.
learning process.
Because you have it's called
Which is why Bud was yelled at as a 4-year-old and is having a hard time now.
fucked up my life, and that's where I'm at right now. That's why I have a hard time remembering what
But luckily,
serotonin, I think it's called. Man, I'm trying to remember what it's called, but it's like your brain, when you think a certain way, it carves a. So like your certain habits are, like if you imagine your brain having these carvings in it that like move across the inside that like cause you to worry or cause you to just pick up. You don't need to have a drink. You need to have a cup of water in the morning, or what makes you brush your teeth, and those things get interrupted by like trauma and drama. And when you're a child, like you're and you're frightened all the time, like it affects that. And so your body right away learns to go into a state of almost like protection.
Are you saying like a higher like a cortisol?
Something path like cortisol, but it's neopathways. So neopathways are how your brain works. And so like it's not necessarily not physical, it's not necessarily physical, but so your neopathways are like you're thinking. And like so like one of my neopathways is if Felipe speaks up right now, my neopathway will go and turn to your direction because I'm used to that. But and that's like it's like an automated response, right? It's because you've been doing it for so long. And so when your parent is yelling at you as a baby, you fucking your neo pathways go, oh, what? And so like you get into that mode. And then like it goes into something else, especially with your partners, stuff like that. But yeah, and that's kind of like what we're talking about here with Mark Twain. When you want to talk about what made this fucking little kid a genius, he was tortured by his mom. Like his mom expected like a lot from this motherfucker, dude. And she wanted him to be a healer and a priest. And like that was the other thing that was fascinating, bro, is that
it's like a Mark Twain was just a little dog to her mom.
Yes, yeah.
You're gonna be an army man.
Right. And the thing was, bro, is what's funny is that he had premonitions, man. Like the thing is that because he believed in God, but he didn't like God, like for the longest time. So like imagine believing in God, but like going like
he questioned organized religion.
He questioned organized religion, and he had to relate. His thing was like I claim like he believed in God, but he didn't like that God held like something over him. And he would have premonitions like his brother when his brother died. He got very close to his brother. And this is after he became a pilot for ferry boats, which he originally was and always wanted to go back to being. Never wanted to be a writer. And in this way, bro, he kind of reminds me of Bukowski.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to be a writer. And then when they made him write in like newspapers, so they would go, okay, because he wanted to write for a newspaper. Part of the reason why he couldn't be a captain anymore is because of the Civil War. So that sends him west, and he goes to a place like called Virginia City. He starts writing in one of the biggest papers, believe it or not. If you've ever been to Virginia City, it was one of the biggest boom towns back in the day, the Comstock mining boom. And he was a reporter from there. And so he goes to San Francisco a bit to work, and they put him on the beat, and he hates the beat. So he starts making up stories. Instead of actually telling real stories and reporting real stories, like he makes up a story about a dad of 7 kids, and he murders all kids. He murders his wife, and then he kills himself. And the whole town is like, Where the fuck did this happen? Why is this happening? And that's why he's forced to go to San Francisco, because he doesn't because he's making shit up, and he just would get bored. But his writings were becoming like famous, like the first book he ever technically wrote, but it only sold 1,000 copies, was the Famous Frog of Calaveras County, and that he stole from a guy. And then he stole it from a dude, like some other guy that was a miner in this camp up in Angels Camp. And if you look up like Twain Hart area, Angels Camp, Mark Twain spent a lot of time in California.
Love the West Coast.
Yeah, but while he was there, he fucking he stole this story. It was a good story, and it kind of with permission. The guy let him steal it. But Mark Twain told it better. Now, going back to his slave days, or when he was a kid, his uncle had a bunch of slaves. And when Mark would have to go visit his uncle, he would go hang out in the slaves, which was kind of rare. Like, most people didn't let their little white kids go hang out with slaves. But Mark would, and he would listen to this old black guy talk about, just tell crazy stories. And it would make Mark Twain this, like, enchanted child, and that's where N-word Jim comes from, is this black dude, and so so that's the thing, is like Mark Twain kind of just steals stories, or he doesn't necessarily steal stories because a lot of them are his own, but his characters are all from people of his life, and in his like last biography, he kind of talks
Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah, because Huckleberry Finn is about Mark Twain and Huckleberry Finn are about two of his best friends growing up. But what my favorite thing about this guy, bro, is he gets to Europe and he goes, fuck this place. How is this? Like, he goes to Rome and he goes, it looks like shit. He goes, like, it's all busted up. He goes to see the what is it? The Last Supper?
Yeah.
And he goes, it's discolored, it's ugly. But there's all these people repainting it, like sitting in front of it, doing no versions. Those were beautiful. And this kind of solidifies Mark Twain at this moment, that in his way of like,
he's a hater.
No, but he also is like, oh, I love America. America's the future. These motherfuckers are living in the past, talking about what they did.
Yeah.
We're over here inventing shit.
We're doing it.
And America's the center of the universe. To Mark Twain, America now becomes the center of the universe. Like, he goes to Jerusalem and he's like, this is where God was born. It looks like shit. He's like, he goes, he has a quote where he's like, I can tell you right now, Jesus is not coming back. He's all, given how hellish this place is. And so like, he comes back home and he writes that book, and it's huge. And that is like really his first book, is the Innocents Abroad. And it's actually in sections, so you have to subscribe to it. Back then, you'd have to subscribe, and you would get books sent to you over time, and it was all his writings and dispatches from this era, or this time in his life. That's fucking pretty dope, by the way. Yeah, so like, but it was funny to me how he just was like, fuck this place, dude. Like, everybody's talking about how Europe's so cool, but we're America, we're inventing shit. And so he comes back home and he starts writing, and he what's funny is I sent Felipe this. A lot of people give him credit for being the first stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
And he's not, actually. He didn't steal this from someone. He was inspired to do this, and he became a study under this guy named Artemus Ward. And
Artemus Ward
was the first real stand-up comic that would go around, and he was a journalist, and he would go and speak, and that's what Mark Twain was doing as well. But Mark Twain would just go and speak, and he was humorous, but Artemus Ward would go and he would wander off and just start talking about whatever, and people would be dying and laughing. And so Mark went and hung out with him, got to know him, and learned under him how to do that, and then mastered it. And what Mark Twain can be credited for is he is the first rock star. He's the first guy that people are like, oh fuck, I want to picture that. I want to get a picture with that guy. I want to get to know him.
He's the first guy that people, how you see a guy like somebody like they're known for like TikTok, or they were known from whatever.
Right.
He was like what people will say that Mark Twain was famous for being famous.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. He was famous for being famous.
But he put it out there.
Well, and he knew that.
Yeah.
He knew that like if he, if he would like keep making up these stories and saying these wild things, like that people were grabbing onto it, and he knew that he could get fame that way. And
That's one thing that's I liked about when we were at the Mark Twain house and we had our little museum guy talking to us, Danielle, and Mark Twain would have what his house was all about entertaining, like his daughters, him. They were always entertained, and they would their one of the games they had was coming up with stories. So they had but right above the chimney, and there was a table, a coffee
Yeah,
table, and a
yeah.
dinner table. But above the chimney, he would leave like stuff on the mantle, like this water bottle, and
Bobby,
just say this. Let me see Bobby right here, and Puffco. Let me see Puffco,
Puffco.
and then like this, and then he'll be, and then their daughter would, and that's one thing he thought the daughter would improvise, and they'll be like this. There was a little boy named Billy who came into the house and had a peace pipe with everybody and had a wonderful time. And he would talk about fishing and how much he loved to fish with his brothers, and they all enjoyed a cup of coffee. Just grabbing little things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. I don't know if I'm just making shit up, but
Yeah,
I'm pretty
no.
sure
Yeah, that's what he would do. And like they're
he was teaching them how to improvise the way he does.
Yeah, and he was improvising, and then also he would read excerpts from his books to them. And that was in their like living room, and in their dining room they had like kind of an atrium that looked like a theater. So they would put on like theater shows where his wife Livy would do stuff and perform, and they would have like it was like a real artist type colony. Lived like at that time there were like a lot of famous artists that also lived around him.
Because what Hartford, Connecticut offered that was new to America was they had a lot of publishers were stationed in Hartford. So if you wanted your book published, you would have to be in Hartford, right?
Yeah, you have to be in Hartford.
Because let me tell you, man. Also, Mark Twain's home. Mark Twain's home was one of the first homes to be wired with a phone, but the phone that was in his home was for like the butler to go talk to the kitchen and
Right.
tell them we need more apples. So that was the first wire line, and then all the neighbors who were rich enough to have this, they would have this. So then they connected the house to house wiring, so everybody would talk to each. So if Mark Twain had to do a rewrite all of a sudden, he would have to rewrite it, and then he could now call the printer and tell them word by word on the phone what the rewrites are on his book now, so they could change everything around and start writing. Because before his house was wired with a phone, they would have to go walk over there and tell him,
Right.
or send a messenger.
Right. Yeah, communication was really slow back then.
And the house was powered and lit by gas.
Right. Yeah, it had plumbing too. It had
Plumbing.
running water. Because I remember there was a beautiful picture that I did sneak in when we were in there of the atrium, because like my girlfriend's into plants, and he has like a green room area type thing. I can't remember, a menagerie, and no, I think that's for birds. But anyway, it was like an area like a greenhouse with glass, and it was really dope, and it had a running water feature in it, and I thought that they just put that in there at the time to make it look nice for the museum, but the girl was like, actually, it had running water, and this was a feature. And I actually saw later on when I was watching the documentary, they have pictures of the house, and the water feature was there. Before they had the phone lines, they used to have these holes, these copper tubes that ran through the wall, and it had a little whistle over the top of it, right? And you wanted to talk to the chef, you blow into, and this was. Back then, Mark Twain's house also was historic because it was one of the most modern houses in the world. And you blow through this tube, beep, 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 and then it goes into, that sound goes through, and then the person blows back through their tube, beep, 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 and then you both remove the cap on the tube.
How would the sound?
Beep, 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 beep.
All right.
And I don't know if that was really it, but it was a sound. It made like a buzzing sound. But you know, and then you remove the top, and then you talk into, what do you need, boss? You know, and he'd be like, give me 2 steaks or whatever. And so like, but Mark Twain built that house around their needs. One of my favorite parts, did you note this, man, was that his desk was in front of the pool table, right?
I'm gonna mention that.
And I've now done this in my room. So he would sit at his desk to work, and he noticed that he'd get distracted and start playing pool or fucking around. So he built that desk, but then he built another desk in the back.
Yeah, to face the wall.
Right.
I wonder if that was the first. I wonder if he started that because when you go into a motel room, the desk always faces the wall.
I love that about those desks.
They don't face the bed. They don't face outside.
No.
If you have a desk that looks out the window, bro, people think you're a lunatic, probably, huh?
I think that's a little weird. You walk by a house with someone sitting at their desk looking out the window, it's like, fucking weirdo. You fucking weirdo. What are you doing? But yeah, I liked that he did that. It made me do it myself, and I have less distraction now.
Talk about that guest room, bro. That guest room, bro, is better than my little single bachelor pad I've had.
The guest room, okay? The guest room is, you walk in, and it's this room that's like 4 times our room. This room's pretty big. It's a regular bedroom size. The guest room is triple the size of this room. And then it has another room that's this size, that has a closet, another little tiny chill bed next to a bay window. And then in the next room is the bathroom with a huge clawfoot tub and fucking all the amenities of a regular bathroom. But it was like, dude, who comes here and needs all this room? Like and it was huge. And then they had the fixtures, their bed. Like the bed is famous because him and his wife made it, and it's what he ended up dying in. Mark Twain's life also was fucking crazy tragic because like
he made a lot of bad investments. He was not a good investor.
He was not a good investor.
Remember he invested in that typewriter?
Yeah, there was 2 typewriters that were being made at the same time.
One is the one we have now.
Yes, which is not the one he invested in. Yeah, he did the Betamax version. It was like a clay type or some clay. It was called a clay type. And it didn't work out at all. It fucking failed miserably. He kept pumping money into it.
What was that? What was wrong with that typewriter compared to the modern one? It didn't line up the numbers right. The letters were different, right?
It was like a type press, but smaller. Like the one they use for newspaper. And you would like push in. It was like made of clay. Like it was the things were set of metal. They were clay, and it was a lot more. It was a lot more work than a typewriter, but a lot less work than a big press.
The other one had the little strip already, huh?
And yeah, and the little one had, and this guy invented it. But Mark Twain, and again, this is where things like, again, where he's like very like known for something is that, you know, when he would write a book, his early books like Tom Sawyer was in his writing, and then it was given to a bunch of people, and they would copy and write it themselves. And so a lot of books you would get were people's handwriting copies of someone else's handwriting. And he became a fan of the typeset because and that's why he wanted to invest in it, because it brought you closer to what the writer was doing. It didn't make you, it allowed you to create your own world instead of see the world through the writer's hands, is what he believed, which I believe too. Because that was the thing, is I read Tom Sawyer a long time ago in the handwriting, and it's miserable. It's hard to read. It's fucked up.
We're lucky, man, like in this lifetime, that we don't have to pay money to go talk to a world traveler.
Right.
Like Mark Twain was a world traveler, and when he went to Hawaii for the first time, like he went to Hawaii and hung out, and then when he came back to America, he went on a tour talking about Hawaii.
Right.
And he called it what?
Oh, what was, yeah.
Hanging with the Savages.
That's right.
But he described Hawaii as these beautiful women and these men who walked around naked.
Yeah. Yeah, it blew his mind. It blew
But
his
we
mind.
saw the history for we talked about Hawaii. It must have blown his mind, huh? But
Yeah.
he must have known even then that our world was modern compared to theirs.
Well, when he went over there, that's when he was like, he came back and he said,
because of the Sandwich Islands.
he's all, these people don't know they're going to hell. And what bliss it might, like, and he wasn't saying that he thought they were going to hell, but he was like, these people haven't been preached to yet. What bliss it must be to not have a religion, you know?
Yeah, how beautiful that is to not believe in anything.
Yeah, and that's what he said. What bliss to not know what hell awaits you, you know? And like, and he was basically saying, and because he was watching the Calvinization of fucking Hawaii, and was like, fuck that, fuck what they're doing to these people, and he saw it coming, like, you know, he saw it coming because, and again, it's because of slavery.
Crazy, huh?
It really, man, and that's the thing is like, this man's whole life, you know, like, is pretty profound because of what he got to do and what he was supposed to do, you know, and like, again, he was born under a shooting star, Halley's Comet, and he died under a shoot. I don't know, bro. I'm not into fucking any mysticism or anything.
Here's a couple of his books, if you guys want to look them up. Adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah.
The Mysterious Stranger.
Yeah.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. He wrote in 1876.
That came before Huck Finn.
The Innocent Abroad.
That's about his travel.
The Gilded Age.
That's another really good one that I've been recommended.
I wonder if The Gilded Age is based. He wrote is also the one from the one on HBO.
Oh, I would look into that.
I'll find out right now, bro, if the characters are the same.
Rebecca is a big. My girlfriend. Is a big Mark Twain fan, and she said that her favorite was a Connecticut Yankee. In Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, and it's a book about just that title, I believe.
Here's another one, bro. You can read Mark Twain, a Tramp Abroad.
Yes, that one's very loved.
A Tramp Abroad is a work of travel literature, including a mixture of autobiography and fictional events by American author Mark Twain.
That might be a good
published
book
in
for you to
1880. The book details a journey by the author with his friend Harris. Oh, let's talk about his friend Harris. How that fool fell in love, bro, when the guy opened up that little medallion.
Oh, yes.
What's that thing called?
It was called. I think it was called the porcelain type. But it was a locket that opened up of his sister, and it was.
He married her.
Yeah, it was. I'm gonna tell you right now. Blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna give you the name of this dude. So he meets this dude on this trip to Europe. That's the thing, is this trip to Europe kind of creates Mark Twain's life. This trip creates Mark Twain's like best years because he meets this kid. Okay. Here we go. Langdon. So he meets Henry Langdon on this ship, and they start to be good buddies. He's one of the guys that goes to smoke in the room and play cards with Mark, and then he one night they're wasted and he shows Mark his locket of what's called a porcelain type, where they used to take photos and put them on porcelain. And he looks at the locket and he goes, he goes, "This is my sister." And he goes, "Can I have this?" He goes, "No." He goes,
"No, your sister."
He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "No." And then he goes, "That's my future wife." And she's 10 years younger. But
he liked younger girls.
He liked younger girls, but at the time this wasn't a weird thing. What was weird was that Mark actually gets to talk to the parents, and he's already kind of getting famous. And he's on this boat to do this thing, but he meets this Henry's parents, and right away he courts the daughter. He takes her out the first night. They go see Charles Dickens reading fucking what's that magician back in the day? David Copperfield's book.
Damn, they went to go see
Charles Dickens.
Just read that shit
on the first date.
On
a New Year's, and so.
I took my date to to hear Mein Kampf, bro.
So he
We
goes.
took a train there.
So he goes on this date. He courts her a little bit, asks her to marry her. She says, fuck no. The family's also like, yo, bro, we don't know if you're going to be successful or not, which he actually
Oh, we read your last book.
overall wasn't successful. But he ends up writing 130 letters to her, about 130 letters over time, gets her to marry him.
130 letters.
They get married, and the dad, I think the dad did this out of fear, but they make it seem like he did it as a gift. But the dad gifts him a house, and he already owns part of a newspaper in Buffalo at this time. So the dad gifts him a house in Buffalo with horses, carriage, servants. It's like worth $44,000, which is probably worth like a few million in this time, right? He gives him this house. Then the dad dies about a year later from cancer, and Mark's business decisions are failing. Even though his books are bringing him money and his tours bringing him money, he's $20,000 in debt, and he's making, half of that. And so he sells his dad's house. He sells her dad's house, and they move to a small town for a while before they move to their house in Connecticut. But yeah, this guy just had he's not a good businessman. Great writer, great American. One of the things is they say it's the most prolific moment for American literature is in the book in Huckleberry Finn. I guess I haven't read this book and I want to, but I guess there's a point in the book where he's able to turn in the N-word Jim, right? Because he's the reason why
That's the name of the book?
The reason why no, Huck Finn is about that. So it's about his relationship with this guy supposedly, where he's the runaway slave on the island, and the reason why he runs away is because he's going to be sold upriver. And so he creates this relationship, and he gets to a point where he could turn him in.
So he writes a letter.
And he writes a letter, and he has a moment of
He starts crying.
why would I do this?
Why would I do this?
Yeah.
A human being.
Right. And so they say that shift, because this is the most famous book at this time. And to this day, it's 82 million copies have been sold.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yeah, that's what that, I guess. I think there's a different meaning I heard about that. Meaning. But yeah, so he, and people are reading this. People are reading, and this is probably, I've never heard this before.
By people back then, and the people who could read.
Yes, that's the other thing too, is that people who could read back then were rich people.
Yeah,
and were powerful people, and they're reading this moment where they're faced with the humanity of this character, and I wonder if that has anything to do with, and that may be the controversial argument. Mark Twain said the N-word a lot. He talked about racism, and he kind of demeaned races a little bit. But
I know, man. I'm pretty sure, man, that Richard Pryor was influenced by Mark Twain because this whole what you're talking about remind me of Richard Pryor's bit when he's doing and not one of his most popular albums, but I think it's the one where he's talking about, we're going to put on a play here in this prison. Oh, we got these people from. So they're bringing these people who are actually liberal people, and they're going to put on a play for the inmates, right? And the inmate is about a woman who falls in love with a black man, and then it goes, and then what?
A white woman?
A white woman who falls in love with a black man, right?
Okay.
So that's the gist of the bit. I'm just saying it, but the punchline is the guard comes in. He goes, wait a goddamn minute here. That is too controversial. We can't be showing a movie about a woman falling in love with a N-word. He kept saying N-word, Richard Pryor. And then Richard Pryor comes back with a better punch, like, oh, he dies at the end. Okay, put it on.
Yeah, kind of. That sounds like an inspiration to me.
Yeah, because Mark Twain is talking about that kind of stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
But Richard Pryor takes it to a different level.
Right, and he would speak of and that's the way that Mark Twain would write. Was he would kind of throw out the injustice first, but not let you know it was an injustice until until you got too far into it, and then he would bring it back, and that's what his talks were a lot about too. Was
He'll
that
throw insights, bro, to dig a politician, and they don't know it.
yeah, it was like yeah, and that was dude. So many controversial moments like that where he would go after politicians. He went after newspapers for stealing money from him, and like the thing was is that it wasn't too long before Mark Twain had the most powerful voice in the country, and it didn't matter. And that was the thing is that he never really became a rich man because again he didn't make good decisions. But
He also when he was writing these books, he was paying back all his investors
yes,
who invested in that whack ass typewriter.
right. Oh, that whack ass typewriter really sunk him hard,
Sunk
man.
him hard.
Sunk him
They had
hard.
to move into a smaller home though.
Yeah, they had to leave and go to Europe for a while. And then when he came back, he moved into a smaller home. His wife, Livy, had died, but their daughter, Lizzie, had died first. Her, and then all his kids died. He had like a son that died like within his first year. Then he had like two daughters that lasted for a while, but then they died. Then he had another son that died. And then Claire, his oldest daughter, who became like a music singer, a famous music singer, she was outlived everybody, but she was like the last of the Twains. You know, like I mean, the guy had like a real tragic life, and that was the thing is that at the time, you know, people didn't really understand because humor was not a part of culture of sophisticated culture back then. Humor was part of like the ghetto culture. It was part of like it was hood slang, you know, and so
Yeah, laughing was for poor people.
yeah, and so when Mark Twain mixed his journeys with his humor, and his wife was this rich, huge, like big deal. You know, her family was like a big deal in itself. They were rich. He became part of the sophisticated crowd, and his writings kind of became accepted, and humor became a regular part of sophisticated culture. And he brought that with him. But that was the thing is that he himself never made any money because of fucking bad decisions.
When we were at the house was like real nice house. Had to kick it at, huh?
That house was fucking
Remember we went up the
beautiful.
stairs
Yeah, that house was
and the little
beautiful.
kitchen, bro, with a
Oh yeah, it had like a little dumbwaiter where you drop
Yeah.
shit down and then you take it to the dining room. And the kitchen was small, but it also had like a door where you could knock on it. And it was like a split level, and you open the door. Hey, what's up, Mark? He goes, give me 2 fucking steaks or something, whatever. Give me a beer, you know. And then you hand it through that little dumbwaiter, and it drops down to you. And that was again, you know, he designed the house around his wanting to live, but he used again also a lot of technology. I think he kind of had a thing about technology. But that's what I was saying is that people thought he was a humorist, and people thought he was the most professional humorist. And I think there's a bit of this still today when people go, You're a comedian. What's wrong with you? How come you're pissed off? Or why do you get, you know, and it's like, you know, Mark had a dark background. Like he had a lot of darkness. And it wasn't until near the end of his writing career that a reporter had pointed out his tragic life and how humorous he was, and that there might be a correlation between humor and darkness in our lives. And it's funny because when you look at stand-up comedians now, you know, I think the running thing is there's a few of us who say that they don't have trauma, like Jay Leno says he's never had trauma in his life. But
watching that chin gives everybody trauma, bro.
but I think most of us have trauma. I mean, we talk about Felipe's trauma a lot on here. We talk about my trauma a lot on here. And when you talk to comics, they do. They have. It's funny because there's times where I'll be listening to a comic story about their life, and they'll talk about something traumatic, and I'll be like, "That's where the comic is. That's where the comic is." And so I really appreciate this subject. I really am like a big fan of this guy's now, and I'd like to read more of his work. But yeah,
When he was touring as a monologist, I guess monologist.
oh yeah, it was a monologist.
Yeah.
A monologist.
How long were the shows? An hour?
Like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
And these people had to pay money, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a show that the blacksmith is gonna take a shower and go watch his show.
This was like going to a Bad Bunny concert back then. And
This is huge, right?
But the only people that had money were rich people.
Like, not to talk down to people back then, but it's gonna be like, we're gonna go see Mark Twain.
Yeah.
Butch is gonna go see the Ringling Brothers.
Right. Yeah.
That was the difference.
Yes. That exactly it was.
And
it.
because anybody that went to go see Mark Twain is not gonna sip pink lemonade.
Well, the other thing, the other thing is this, man, is that
It was a class thing too, right?
it was a class thing, but
But he was speaking to the underclass.
but the reason why it was so interesting is because there was no internet back then. There
None
was
at
no
all.
pictures. There was no, movies. Pictures were around, but it was like hard to get a picture of stuff, and so in order to know about what was happening in other places, going to see this person was a really good idea because you get an idea of what Africa was like, what Egypt was like, what Europe was like. Like you could hear this person's firsthand account of doing things that almost nobody was able to do.
Yeah, man. I would just imagine when I was watching the show, The Gilded Era or The Gilded Age, on HBO. I think is it HBO? And there was one of the workers from that works at the house, at the mansion, and he's asking for permission on his day off. He asked a girl on a date because he has tickets to see some guy and his magic lamp show, and he's gonna show a movie through a lamp.
Yes, yeah.
So that's early movies.
And they would like fuck with that thing and right? They would talk to it or talk through it.
No, it was a lamp. Put up lamp show.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, look at that thing, dude.
So that guy in the Gilded Age went to go see a lantern show like this. That's imagine, bro. You never seen anything like that. But this is not for this is for like poor people.
This is not for poor people. This is for people with money. Entertainment back then was for people with money. Like
card tricks and getting robbed in the streets, and a juggler was for you.
We could talk. We talked about this on one of our podcasts where, I think it was
Thank you, man.
Possibly the Gangs of New York, but where they would go watch a show, a play, and then the rich people would be in the balcony with handkerchiefs. Because the poor people were down there stinking it up. Yeah, bro, it's wild, bro. There's no ventilation in these places either.
Bro, they're in the bottom there, bro, eating a big leg of lamb, bro, watching the show.
Fuck all that, bro. I'm staying home tonight.
Then throwing the bones, throwing it, and whoever's poor starts eating the rest.
Yeah.
Find it to mix it outside to a dog eats it.
Or they throw it at the performer for sucking. Fuck, dude, that's so gross, dude.
Imagine Mark Twain, bro, would have done his show for the common man back then, bro. That's a blacksmith and all that.
Right.
They would probably think that was entertaining.
No, that was the thing is that I don't want to like shit on poor people back then, but you were uneducated. You were uneducated by like.
You're not cultured either.
You had to be.
It's not your fault. You don't know anything.
Yeah, school wasn't a luxury. Like fucking your kids worked in the factory as soon as they could like walk.
I think back then, bro.
So these people weren't concerned with like.
If you're a blacksmith, I'm not saying a blacksmith. A blacksmith is probably the best job. Like you don't want to be he's living better than a farmer. He's just making swords, but he's making good money.
Right.
But he's a blacksmith.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure if his son were to come in and go, Dad, I want to go to school and read.
Fuck no.
He'll probably slap the fuck out of him and think that, why are you trying to be better than me?
Or he'd be like, "Are you gay?"
No, you're being better than me.
Yeah, right.
Because they know they're gonna be an elite now.
That was the thing was that it would be going to college like that was thought you were like in the working man's world, and it's weird because we're kind of regressing back to this point where if you go to school, you go to college, you're a pussy, you're a little bitch.
But I think the people that ended up going to work and having jobs and going to college ended up being their bosses.
Right.
But also there was a hate for your boss attitude back then too.
Yes.
Because they're not paying me enough.
Right. But there was a different thing because it was also pride in your work. So you were a blacksmith and you worked fucking hard as fuck, and maybe you got to own your house, which was a thing back then. But that was it. You didn't have a
Back then, bro, a
carriage.
blacksmith didn't think the way we think right now. A blacksmith never thought about saying, I don't want my son to be a blacksmith.
No, you're going to be a blacksmith.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And like you said, you're not going to be better than me. You're not going to think you're going to do something better than me. Who the fuck do you think you are?
There was an unknown caste system we didn't know about.
It was a very unknown caste system, yeah. And that was and again, like people shamed education, especially like the liberal arts. Liberal arts are pretty much unheard of, but like people shamed education. I got that when I was reading East of Eden by John Steinbeck.
What's liberal arts?
Liberal arts is like you want to be like you go to school to be a painter, or you go to school to make to learn to direct movies. Like
You want to starve.
yeah, it's stuff that's not a needed thing. Like you need to go to school to be a lawyer, you need to go to school to be an accountant. Those are needed things, you know. But if you go to school to be a graphic designer, that's a liberal arts program.
Anthropologist.
Yeah, anthropologist. Like, yeah, that's a liberal arts because you're you know, you're studying something that's not necessarily a needed thing, and so that was also a thing too. It was like, oh, you're gonna go to school to fucking study bones, you fucking homo, you know?
I got your boner right here.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of frowned upon to be educated. It was frowned upon to write poetry. It wasn't like that's kind of the other thing was like Samuel Clemens Mark Twain wrote about being a man. And that's also why it was important because he was kind of forging a way for like his art to be something more respected. And he wrote about being a steamboat captain. He wrote about being a miner during the gold rush. He wrote about all that stuff, man. And men were just like, you know, and again, this is a very patriarch society back then. So men were very much big fans of what he was writing, really into what he was into. And this guy was a real dude. He was he piloted for 6 years. He piloted steamboats, which was a big deal. That was a big deal to be a steamboat pilot back then. And then he got to travel, man, which is every man's dream, you know.
He probably saw a lot of the world, huh?
He saw a lot of the world, and he saw a lot of like he got to see a lot of stuff before it was untouched by Western hands. This is prior World War I, World War II.
He probably tasted exotic fruit before everybody came to America.
Oh,
huh?
yeah. Before it ever...
Pineapples.
Can you imagine what pineapples tasted like back then? We have no idea what it tasted like because we taste our pineapples.
Or bananas.
Bananas were fucking weird back then, bro. You know, broccoli wasn't what broccoli is now. Apples were not existent.
Broccoli isn't what it is now, and it isn't what it was then, man.
Right.
Broccoli didn't get good, man, till somebody decided to go, you know what, man? I can't get my fat ass son to eat broccoli. Then some other guy goes, then some other dad or mom goes, you know how I got Jerry to eat broccoli? How? I added butter and cheese to it. You're a genius. You're the Mark Twain of our lives.
And nutritionally, that wipes out everything. But yeah, that's how my mom got my fat ass to eat that shit.
I really love Mark Twain's life. I love that he got to see a lot of things, and he thought I consider him as a historian because he brought things to American people that they would never know about him seeing it
right
with his own eyes.
Right. Yeah. And that's why they paid him to do a lot of that. And because he also wrote in a way that people weren't writing. He had a flavor. He wanted you to feel what he was talking about. And a lot of writers were really like monotone and just informative. You know, newspaper reading was informative. And now you're reading this guy talking about going to another land where women are veiled, their faces are veiled, and you know, he talks about the can, seeing women dance the can for the first time, and like almost being so ashamed of seeing legs and butt cheeks.
If Mark Twain was alive right
cover his
now,
eyes.
If Mark Twain was alive right now, there'll be a bunch of people from protesting his speeches at at events.
Mm-hmm.
Because he'll probably write something against the administration that we have right now in 2025. He'll probably break it down so funny that he'll be selling out crowds, bro.
I think the closest we've had to a Mark Twain in our lifetime is George Carlin.
Yeah,
I think he would be a lot like Carlin, where
yeah.
he would definitely break down the system. Because that's what he did a lot. He made people like question things. He made people talk about things. And again, like one of the most like profound moments in history of literature is him talking about how Huck Finn lets that dude go. And that was like people going, "Oh fuck, these people are humans."
That's why I love doing the What's So Full podcast. I love Do You Even Binge and History for Foos because we're not holding nobody holding us down. We don't have a contract with anybody, so we can say whatever we want.
It's our own channel.
This is the last space for free speech.
It is. The podcast and YouTube videos right now, I feel really are. I felt that for a long time because this whole business about what's happening, the FCC's been around forever and it's been fucking trying to if you ever watched Howard Stern or listened to Howard.
I learned about the FCC through George Carlin, another one.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. Because he has that word, the 7 dirty words, bro.
That you're not allowed to say.
Because he had that one bit. He goes, funny how you can say I prick my finger, but you can't say I finger my prick.
Yeah, dude, that's right. Yeah.
And the reason there's a delay in on television is because they were afraid to put Richard Pryor on SNL. So on SNL, on his monologue, they made the 7 seconds for the FCC.
For the delay.
It was for Richard Pryor.
So that's the thing is that,
So they could cut so I was walking over there holding my cock. They cut that little part off. And then
beep, beep.
Yeah.
Well, you go to, we've been to radio stations before. They have the delay button sitting right next to them in case we cuss.
Yeah.
And you see him slap it every once in a while when we fucking forget. And that's the thing, man, is like, this is that. And I always thought that. The minute I watched YouTube for the first time, I was like, this is going to be a whole new thing, man, where we get to be who we want. Like the beauty of having your own podcast and having your own channel is you're broadcasting your own voice uninhibited. Like nobody's stopping Felipe from saying what he wants to say, or me, or people on What's Up Fool, or Do You Even Binge, because it's our own creative box. And I encourage anybody, man. Like one of the things, if you see me on Instagram and you follow me, if I follow you back, it's probably because you got something to offer. Like you're taking pictures of something, or it's your art, or it's something. Because to me, that's just your own creation. That's what's so beautiful right now.
Hey man, thank you everybody who showed up to see me at Thunder Valley Casino with Jay Valentino and Frankie Quinones, bro. 3-man show, bro.
How was that show, dude?
Jay did 10 minutes. Frankie did 30 and I did 70.
That's great, dude. Fuck yeah, dude.
Crazy.
It sounded like a really good show.
Not as good as PuffCon.
Yeah, PuffCon was fucking amazing, bro.
Also, thank you everybody who showed up to see us in Tampa and Charlotte, North Carolina, man. You know who you are.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming up to me saying we love the podcast and stuff, man. That stuff, again, makes my day. Makes me feel good about going into a hole and reading and writing and, spending all this time. I read at least 1 to 2 books a week. I come out and I found out about a new subject once a week, man. This is fucking the greatest. So thank you guys for your contributions. And shout out to Ray Ball, dude. Check out. Let me just do this one real quick. Dude, remember when you were like, hey man, you should do what J-Rod does.
Yeah.
And someone responded and said, hey, can you make a commercial for me? So if you go to my Instagram, there's a commercial. I want to get this guy's name right. Barbecue Ray at Barbecue Ray's Detailing. Thanks for the
Barbecue Ray Detailing. Where are they located?
In the Central Valley. So Fresno, Modesto, Tulare County. Hit your boy up, dude. Don't throw your fucking barbecue out on the fucking corner because you just too lazy to clean it and you want to buy and you go buy a new one. Save that money, put a little bit into it, give it to fucking Ray's Barbecue Detailing. He'll come on out and fucking hook you right up with a dope, nice, clean barbecue. So you
Is
can.
that thing lit or was it ready?
It's dead. The battery died.
Oh, swag.
We overused it, so I gotta charge it. That's the one thing. But it could be just us. We're puffers, so who knows?
Also, man, thank you to all the Foostorians out there, History Foostorians, who are digging the podcast. We love doing the podcast. It's a lot of fun, man.
I love this.
And
podcast.
next week,
I love this.
we're gonna talk
podcast.
about Mickey Mouse white gloves. Get ready for that. You want to Google it and get ahead of the game. We're gonna talk about why cartoon characters have white gloves.
I'll have white gloves. No one ever thought of that. Yeah.